Morning, Steve. You can see me. I have to stand this way so you can see me. If I go this way, you can't see me. Now you can see me. Now you can't. We could play Peebo. Morning, Colin. You should be able to hear us now. Morning, Fred. Yeah, we need a boom mic, a boom mic, one over the top. That's next. We've just upgraded the router again. Morning, Douglas. Morning, Baz. Bit quiet on the audio. We're trying to adjust that a little bit. Hold on, if I bring this nearer me, how's that? Is that better? Try that. The audio's kicking up, isn't it? Let's just ping it up a bit. Hold on, adjustments. What's audio?
The mouse is over here, by the way.
Over here.
That one, that bottom one.
1, 2.
Check. Check.
Check, 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 check. Morning, Peter, no problem. Glad it arrived. We're having a few problems with parcel force at the moment. DPD don't seem too bad. Audio's fine, that's good. Twisted Trees, good morning. How you doing? Look at this, I'm getting almost professional. 9 minutes to go or something, 11 minutes to go, and I'm up, I'm ready. Now, Colin, we used to be mates, but we nearly didn't get a demo this morning, that's for certain. 11 o'clock last night, the power went off. And throughout the night, we getting text every hour saying it'll be fixed in the next hour, fixed in the next hour. Finally come on at 8 o'clock this morning. Morning, Dunk. How you doing? 8 o'clock, all night without power. Bloody alarm was going beep, 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 beep. 21 watching, we're doing well. What have I forgotten? Well, we'll find that out as we go along. I've got my lathe. That's right in front of me, I haven't lost that. Got some tools. Somewhere there. So, I haven't forgotten my tool. Ain't got any wood. So we're all back to work, are we? Or, you know, we're all still able to do what we want? Morning, Leslie. Morning, John. Yeah, we was part way through our pub. Well, we just finished our pub quiz last night with our friends, having a few beers, and bang, that was it. Gone, no power. But you lucky people, we got power now. Or unlucky as the case may be. Saturday morning, and here we are, yeah. Here we are again, John. Douglas, no, I don't dare open the freezer. We just had half a pig delivered. We might be eating pork all weekend. Never stop work. Either in my bar or the garden shop. Spot on. I know how that feels. We haven't stopped. Morning, mate. If you could see the mess around the base of my lathe, I really must clean up. It's not been cleaned for 3 demos. I'm going to make it my ambition this week to tidy my workshop. Morning, Miss T. Morning, Lee. Glad to see you got up this morning. Morning, Barry. Morning, Stuart. Morning, Vicky. What have we got? 6 minutes. We'll give it 6 minutes. Yeah, I will go steady. Morning, Nick. The sand dance. I think I've grown 6 inches taller.
I just thought if we'd had a power cut, I'd have live streamed from your phone and you could have used the treadle lathe.
Oh, yeah. The grass didn't get mowed last week. We got interrupted. That's a definite job for today. Otherwise, won't be able to see our dog running down the field. Morning, Dave. How you doing, mate? You all right? I'm not worried about numbers. Whoever turns up, as long as they enjoy it, that's all it's about. I'm just trying to keep our wood turning community spirits up. I might not do it if there was nobody at all. That might be a problem. But when we do a demo around the clubs, various wood turning clubs around the country, you know, your normal audience there is between 30 and 50, depending on the size of club. So, you know, if we live stream for 30 people, it's just the same as doing a demo. Morning, Philip. Brian, did I miss you? Good morning. We got a bitrate issue, I think. Thanks, John. Now, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. Do 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 do. When I do a deep hollow form, what do I use? I use the Simon Oak. Let's come back here. The Simon Oak Pro Carbide tool. But what you can do with it is you slide the grips off. Hold on, you'll see this in a bit. Put it in a handle, and then the longer the handle, you can hollow more. If I'm going to get really serious,
even get it out. Taking out the ceiling.
I can use this. So this thing's called an Exocet. It's a 1970s tool. There's the tip. You can see how wide I am. We come up the shaft, just trying to move the camera to get you an idea. Well, if I do that in front of the sign, this sign's 6 foot. So that's a real deep lance, you know. Not for the faint-hearted, to be fair. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's seriously vicious. But most of my hollering, I don't do many that, you know, you're going to stand up to. Give you another idea. There, that's about halfway out. So it's as tall as me halfway out. Oop, no, it's not. There. It's about, this is about, my guess is it's about 6 foot.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah, it's about 6 foot. But I can hollow with the Simon Hope Pro Carbide 16-inch, something like that, which is plenty deep enough for most, you know. It's only if you're sort of trying to try something different, you know. So, I'm back. This is quite a deep olive form, probably 2 foot-ish, something like that, I would guess. Let's have a look. One. I lied to you. This one's 20 inches. That's one that I got to hand. A bit of sported order. Rotten as a peach. Took about 100 mils of thin super glue to hold the straws together so I could turn it, and then it went in the sandblaster. You won't see the texture on here, but this is all textured where the sandblaster took out all the rock. But, you know, and I think I got away with doing that with the Hopi tool and a longer handle. Right, what's the time? 10 o'clock. So, have I missed everybody? Got everybody? Sorry if I haven't caught you. Morning, Tommy, Derek. Morning, Pat, Martin. Morning, Paul. Okay, so this morning we're going to do a bit of Mallee Burr. Now, a few of you were here last week when I was hollowing out a root, and it's not finished. I did have another go, but it's not finished. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Ices. But here's our hollow form. I'll turn that around. It's been hollowed. It's now being oiled. It's drinking oil as if there's no tomorrow. So I shall just carry on oiling it. What I'll do, I'll just show you. I'll leave it in the chuck until it's finished being oiled. At the moment it's had about 10 coats, I would think. what I'm using is the... Oh, Joe's moved the camera.
Sorry.
I'm using the Chestnut Finishing Oil on this. I like the chestnut on something like this because it don't taint the colour of the wood too much. And if I just give it, you can see in a moment, I'll just give it a wipe of oil now. Set that on. And you can see her start to shine. I put the oil on with a cloth, but I roll the cloth up so I don't get the ends near, so it sticks into this open grain. And I'll build up several coats of oil on it. Let's do this. And then I'll start buffing it when the oil's dried out. And then I'll just carry on building up oil until no more sinking into the wood really. And then when I get to that point, there we go, you might be able to see it shine, a bit more shiny now. When I get to that point, then I'll part it off. I've not sanded the inside. The inside I used the scraper on to finish it off a bit. Go. I used the scraper to finish it off a bit, so I'll have a look. If I think I can get in there safely and sand it, then I will, and if not, then I left the bottom here this a little bit thicker because this void in here goes all the way through. That's why we got a bit of a wobble last week. And this bit, if we went too thin, this bit would come out, and I prefer to leave that in, really. So it's been hollowed through the body to around about 15 mil, 12 mil, something like that. It's a fairly even wall thickness, and just a bit chunky in the base, which, because of the style of the piece, I'm quite happy with. You know, if there hadn't been this big void in the bottom here, then I may have hollowed further. Well, I would have hollowed further, but, you know, it's about keeping the piece and making it look good. So once I've finished oiling it and buffing it up and I'll part it off, then obviously I'll post that on the good old social media so everybody can see it. So I'll take that off the lathe now, and then we'll get going with today's project. Bit of Mallee Burr. Morning, Helen. So, this morning we're going to tackle a bit of Mallee Burr here. It is red mallee, and she's about 12 inches by 10. So, what you're thinking is, what's he going to do with that? He's going to make a bowl out of that, isn't he? Well, I'm not. No, I do sculptural pieces with Mallee Burr, so we're going to do a little sculptural piece. Now, firstly, a bit of maintenance on the lathe. I don't know if any of you do this, but my lathe's got a bit stuck up with the olive. So I use a Nyewed pad, Chestnut Nyewed, just rub the lathe bed down to remove the rubbish. Nearly said another word there, but you're not supposed to do that, are you? So just to remove the rubbish, slide this along, and I do it all along. Now the reason I use a Nyewed, I could use wire wool, but I prefer the modern Nyeweds over wire wool. So I just rub the bed down like that, and then what I use is some Liberon lubricating tool machine wax, and picking up my oil rag. I meant to pick up my paper towel. Sorry, I've got me back to you. Probably some people think that's a better view, but
I can't see it anyway.
Can't see it anyway, I'm told. Right, so then I just give this a bit of wipe over with this. Protects the bed and it makes things run nice, free and even. Because the last thing you want to be doing is fighting with your towel stock and your banjo. So I'll give that a coat. Then I get just under the banjo on the bars, just give it a coat of oil. Slide that down. It just cleans the rubbish off of it. Nightweb gets rid of any pit marks and stuff inside the bar there. There we go. And that's this morning's demo on lathe maintenance.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Joe thinks he's going home early.
He's not.
So, okay, so the Mallee Burr, what we're going to do? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to find a centre-ish sort of point. So the way I do this is to get the ruler. I know it's about 12 inches, I'm not too worried. So I'm going to go about 6 inch somewhere there. And then this way I'm going to take the main body, that's about 8, so somewhere around the 4 mark is going to be somewhere there, and that's one of my points. I'll flip it over, 12ish, about 6ish, somewhere there, and then I'm going to forget this little bit at the top here. I'm going to come through there, which was about 8, so about 4 is somewhere there, and that's going to be my rough centre there. We're going to chuck this in a minute, but what I'm going to do first is put it between centres. So I'm going to use a big heavy step drive at one end, live centre at the other. Now, what I want to do is this face, the flat face, is going to be my chucking point for turning. So I'm going to get roughly on my mark somewhere there with that. And then I'm going to move it over. I should have punctured it. So I just use a punch somewhere. Lost me cross. Somewhere around there. Oh. That's it. That'll do for the point. And then I'm somewhere around there. That'll do for that point. So I just bring this up. I really should bring my glasses over here.
Douglas asked what the route would sell for.
What the route would sell for? Well, anybody wants to pay for it, Douglas. It depends where they are. If they're in London, yeah, in a gallery in London, right gallery, you could easily see it fetching 700 or 800 quid. It's only rough. The reason I'm using a long point here, just there, somewhere there. There. Now I'm going to tighten that up. Use me knockout bar to bang that stem home. You can't see this, but I've got a knockout bar, and I give that stem a couple of taps to get the teeth gripping. There. And once I'm in, I'll lock it down. And then what we're going to do is just turn the lathe speed to 0. Turn it on. And just turn it up and make sure she's turning reasonably well. Which that's not too sad. It's going to be out of centre. Now I've done that, I'm just going to check she's not going to come flying off the lathe at me. Wind that in a bit more. Try that. That don't look too sad. I think she's old. We'll give it a go. So, sorry? Yeah, the motor's locked down. Joe's asking if the motor's locked down because it was rocking. It was rocking because it's out of balance and we're not exactly lined up. But we're not worried about that at the moment. Because what I want to do is get a chucking point into here. So I'm not going to worry about the rest of it at the moment. The first job is to get my chucking point. Now, you could use a Forstner bit and drill in and create yourself a socket. So I could have done that. Why I haven't done that is beyond me. But I do it this way sometimes. It all depends on the surface here. If I can get a chuck in. If it's really undulating, then what you can do is use a set of long nose jaws, create a socket, and then that will grip, and this can then encapsulate around the jaw set, so it doesn't matter. But I thought this was flat enough to have a go like this. I might be proved wrong in a minute, so we'll find out. So I'm going to bring my remote box over my side of the lathe. The worst that's going to happen here if it comes off is it'll batter me sign behind me or take out the screen that you're putting the bits on. Morning, Mike. So, what we're going to do now is just gently turn off some of this base to make it flat so we can get a spigot. So I'm just coming in with the gouge fairly low and just taking some fine cuts. No force, just slow and gentle into the middle there. Tools into my side. And I want to get rid of this bark really. This white is the bark. So I can get down to a bit of solid wood. So I can make a secure chucking point. I'm not trying to go in too far here because we're just on a point. Joe's moving cameras around. Now I'm trying to also keep my elbow my side of the tool rest. I've got a tendency to have my elbow leaning on the tool rest, which isn't good with something like this because she could come off the lathe. I'm just going to check that we're getting into something a bit more solid, not quite. So now we're just going to knock this down a bit more. I'm not spinning this too fast, we're only spinning at about 350. I'll just pick the back of the bevel up, and as I hear it tap, then I start lift my handle a little bit and go into the cut. I'm just going to check that, see where, right, now we're getting down to a bit of wood. I've got to get flatter because I want to be able to put a socket in here, and I've got plenty of wood here, but this shallow bit, so I've still got to go a bit further. I'll just move my tool rest up, make sure I'm not going to foul on anything, and then we just bring this back a bit further. Bevel bash, handle forward and up. there's a high point there. Now let's see if we've got enough to get a socket in there. Now just a little bit more. I'm going to just come the other way here to flatten this out. So now I'm just resting the bevel, back of the bevel, up, so the flute's coming up over my left shoulder. Rub the bevel, lift the handle, and then just let it bounce along, knocking down the high points, pulling the tool back towards me. I'm not worried about the finish at this stage. I'm just trying to get enough to get a chucking point in. So a bit more. Keep stocking and checking. I need a couple of, probably another 5mm down, it looks like. So I'll just bring this tool rest in a bit closer, get maximum support until I can pick that up. Now that's just a bit too close. Let's try that. That's it, that spins freely. I'm going to go back the other way because I've got a high point that I've got to deal with. So with my handle really low, there's the bash, and then I just pick the cutter up. Do we have to end this and go live again? Oh, let's see. Count for you as 10.
There we go. We're live. We're good.
Hello. Are we back live and good? So, we've had to contend with power cuts. We've had to contend with rubbish broadband. We've upgraded to 4G broadband. That was better. We've upgraded to a super duper router, and she's still cut out on you. Well, thanks for staying. What I've been doing is turning the base of this flattish, so we can get some wood here that's flat, so we can get a mounting point. Now my intention here is just to put a spigot on here, but I'm going to take a little bit more out of here first and build up a bit of wood for a spigot that we'll be taking off, and then we'll finish off the back. And this bit round here is going to be the front, or should we do it the other way round? I want to keep a bit of, yeah, we'll have sapwood, that'd be fine. So we're going to take off a bit more. I want to bring this down to around about, I don't know, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. So I'll take a little bit more off here, and I need to build up here around about 8mm, 10mm, something like that. So I'm going to carry on taking a bit more of this down. Hopefully you can all hear and see everything again. We are going to rectify the broadband issue. I've got O2 doing a survey to bring us in proper 21st century high-speed broadband, but the survey can take a month under normal conditions, so who knows. Could be 2 months, who knows. Just gently with this. Now we're turning more air than wood. So we don't push too hard here, we just pick up the cut and turn. This is pushing the wood away at the moment. Sorry?
What weight would you need to select for a 12-inch burr?
What weight would you need to select for a 12-inch burr? What, something this size? This is just a small little burr. It was around about 3.5, 4 kilo. These Aussie burrs are strange things. The way they work is when they're farmed, when they're cropped, they weigh them with all the bark on and everything, and that becomes that burr's weight. They then debark, dry them out, debark them. So by the time we get them, we're probably, if we put it on our scales, 30 to 50% lighter than what they reckon they are. But that's the way it's done. I didn't know that when we first started doing them. And we thought we had a lot more than we did. And I thought they shortchanged us, but they hadn't. I bought this lot in with a mate of mine, Russell Clark. He fancied some burrs. And I said, well, let's give it a go. I'll come in with you. So we bought a pallet load of these things. They're quite good fun, quite nice. People like them. People like mixing them with resin. That's one of the big things now with Aussie burrs. I'll just bring this out. To start getting a smoother cut. I'm using the tool rest as my guide here as I come out. What was that, Joe? It could be around about 40 quid, I think. They're not the cheapest thing in the world. I'm just laying the side of my bevel on the wood, raise my handle a little bit, and I'm just taking now some fine cuts. There. See where we're going. Right. So we've chipped away the wood. Notice I say chip for anybody kicks in and say that was a bit crunchy. Now I'm going to do a couple of fine cuts in and support this end grain so I tidy the edge up. But for that, I'm just picking up another tool, another bowl gouge, but a fresh sharp one. So I'm just going to pick up this edge now and then just slowly come in. Want to get rid of all that torn grain. Just don't want this tool to bounce now, so just locking that handle into my body, and we're just going to run in. Now what I've got to be careful of is I don't rub the bevel too hard and cause a bruising on the wood. Yeah, there's burrs on the website. Have a look at that, see how we're doing. Right, we've gone a bit ridgy there. We got rid of the torn grain, a little bit ridgy. So I'm just going to slowly sort this out. I want to do this because I'm doing it this way round before I get it into the chuck. Just adjusted the tool rest up, and now we'll just pick up this outside edge. I'm just going to come in. Keep swatching gouges here to get a sharp one. That's better. Little more lift to the handle, and I'm just looking on the far side at the cut rings as I'm coming in so I can gauge where my cut is. We got rid of the torn grain. That's the bit I wanted to get rid of. So I'll just push in now. I'm going to move my box because that's in my way. Turn the speed up a little bit. So we're running about 550 now, and now I'm just going to light cut in. Raise the handle as I go. Just trying to flatten off this back. Into there. So I'm going to try a very light cut coming back the other way. Handle's really low. And I'm just sort of brushing the gouge across the surface now. So you should see the shavings flicking up a real light. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't answer that there. I was deep in concentration. Right, Joe's just said, what sort of Aussie burr would I recommend as a first attempt? Any of them really. You've got red Mallee, brown Mallee, red coolie bar, bimble box, that's what we've got. You've got jarrow you can pick up, that's something I haven't got. There's all sorts of Aussie birds, they're all the same, they're all eucalyptus family trees. They're all highly resined and really dense woods. So realistically, I think when you're looking for an Aussie bird, you're looking to see what you can get out of it, you know, and you can make bowls out of them or these sculpture type pieces. So I don't think it much matters really. You just got to be light on your tool control to get them finished. They stand up reasonably well, as you'll see in a minute. But as we do this, we are going to have just a few marks, because I can't use my tool as a scraper action. I'm not willing to do that because of the uneven surface. I've got a bit of torn grain just here, so I want to try and get rid of that. So I'm going to try going the other way. Yeah. Just very light cuts these. It's that torn grain on the white sapwood. Right, so we've got rid of that. That's not too bad. So now we're going to start putting in our spigot. So I'm going to raise my tool rest. I was thinking about socketing this side, spigot in the other, but I changed my mind halfway through. That's my prerogative on the wood turner. I can do as I like. So I've now lost my vernier, which I've refound. I hope I don't drop it on the floor, because the pile of shavings down there, I'd never find it again. So I'm going to go in, because I'm going to use my 2-inch dovetail drawers at 46mm. Left hand point, stab, right hand point away. You know the joke, unless you want to get rid of the person behind it, put the right hand point in over your shoulder. That's an old one. I keep saying it, I mustn't do that. I'm getting repetitive in my old age. Now I'm just going to bring the tool rest up and round a little bit, but not much, because I don't want to catch obviously the edge of the burr as we do this. So I'm in there. I can see my cut line in there. So as per normal, I'm going to use my skew. Now what I've got to be careful of, I'm going to use it left-handed. Yeah. I'm using my skew left-handed. Because of the overhang of this burr, I don't want to have my left arm over the tool rest and go and catch it. It'll just cut straight through you. So I'm just feeding this skew in, lifting my handle, and I want to get a nice flat base. I want my spigot about 6mm deep. Just taking little pinches at a time. Sorry? Who's that? Oh, right. I can't see the old chat on there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so Joe's shouting comments out. I'll keep looking up, but it's finished when Mike Wolf left the room. He's gone to find a sheep. Oh, we're back. Okay.
What's postage? I can never remember.
Postage, UK, what I do is if the order is over 60 plus VAT, £72, then we'll send it out free of charge. To mainland UK, I'm afraid excluding all you lovely people who live up in Scotland. Nothing to do with me, but the couriers just think you might as well live in out of Mongolia. Don't know why. Carriage standard is £6.95 plus VAT, which makes it, sorry, just concentrate me if I get my ankle. Carriage standard £6.95 plus VAT, which is £8.34. Right, so I'm checking the shoulder here to make sure she's nice and flat. I don't want any rock, there's just a little bit out. My spigot there is around about 6mm, roughly where I want it. So I just got to trim this up just a tad more because we want it to sit on here nice and smooth. Now doing it left-handed is just a little bit of a challenge for a right-hander. If you're a left-hander, of course it's not a problem. That's flat there. Let's try that. It was just a gnats. That's it. And there's no rock there at all now. So that's exactly we want that. Now what I'm going to carefully do now, carefully he says, carefully, very carefully, is just take out this nugget in the middle so my jaws will sit on here. But I've got to leave a peg big enough so the live centre grips hold of it. So what I'm going to use is the bowl gouge and just chop down on this peg to get rid of it. And just very light. I'm just chopping down. So what happens is I pick up my bevel on the top, and then as I get the cut, I throw my hand in. I've got to get this peg down enough to fit into the hollow in the centre of the jaws at the back. That tool rest just might be a tad high. Now, I moved the tool rest while the wood is spinning normally, but not with something like this. This is a live edge, uneven, and if I was to catch it between centres, I'd probably land up with a little bit of a problem. So I'm there now. I come back and I can use the bevel actually on the centre itself to give me a bit of support to get kicked off. There we go. Bevel. Another one. Just a bit of fine judgment here. Wing and a prayer job. Shouldn't say that really, it's not really a wing and a prayer. And I'm just careful not to get a catch. So I don't want to dismount this or snap this tip. There. Now I'm going to flatten off the top of the spigot. I'm going to try and leave this pip on. You'll see why in a while. Last cut down there. Into there. And then just make sure that's flat along the bottom. I don't want anything fouling on the chuck jaws. So there we've got a thin spigot that will sit into the chuck. We've got our spigot on here for our chuck, and we've got a nice little shoulder for it to sit on, and then we've got the back turned off to here, which will sand. So without further ado, we shall move that around, get that out of the way, frantically look for the chuck that I put in a safe place behind me earlier, undo the drawers, and what we're concerned with, it all sits in there nice and squarely. So I'm just going to pinch it up like so, knock me drive centre out, my stem there. Now, the moment of truth. So I'm just locking that into there. Now I'm going to make sure the chuck is fully secured on the lathe. So just find the locking pin, and I use this old C spanner. Give me chuck a tap, get me worms out, and see if that works. Now, what I'm looking for is that I can't get a £5 note between my jaw face and the shoulder. That looks okay. So now I'm going to pinch this up with a quarter of a turn to make sure she's on. I'm standing out the way. It's in the chuck. I'm going to turn it on. And she's spinning nice and true. So now we're getting there. So what we're going to do now is bring tool rest up, and this is now going to be our face. At one point it was going to be our back, but now I've decided it's going to be our face. So I've got a little bit of depth there. This back is dished slightly because I need a bit of depth. You'll see why I need a bit of depth a bit later on. So now we've just used the bowl gouge and face this blank off. Obviously, first things first, at the corner of your screen you may be able to see the pointy thing, the elbow stabber coming out the way. And it is now out the way so I don't stab my elbow. I know you would all be concerned for my safety, and you wouldn't like to see me stab my elbow on the elbow stabber. We're now just checking the height. I want to come through on centre. I'm dropping the tool rest down a little bit, somewhere there. And now we can reveal what this bird's going to look like. See how sharp. I think my gouge is dull. These are real killers sometimes on gouges. Myself, Joe, as this comes on. Joe's just standing the other side of the lathe. Foolish boy. So I'm just pull cutting, so I'm rubbing side bevel, roll of the wrist towards me, anti-clockwise is that? Yeah, anti-clockwise, and a little lift of the handle, and I'm just picking up the cutting edge under the tip. I'm just using the tool rest as my guide. Real light. Just want to flatten her off a little bit. I'm just knocking down the high points with this cut. Whoop, that one's so clever. That little bounce there. The one thing I found with these Axminster lathes, they're a lovely lathe, but the tool rest, you really got to give it a bit of welly when you're doing it up, because they are prone for some reason to move. Might have something to do with I've just oiled all the bed up, of course, so I've made it too smooth. Perhaps I'll get a Brillo pad and wind it over. So now just coming back to here, handle low, roll the wrist and a slight drag. Northern Ireland, unfortunately you guys are treated like Scotland. You get 20 quid plus VAT, it's about 24 quid. But that is up to a box of 30 kilos. It's cheaper to deliver Southern Ireland. Yeah, it's cheaper to deliver to Germany, France, Southern Ireland. For some reason, Northern Ireland £20 plus VAT. This is DPD rates. Southern Ireland £15.50 plus VAT. Work that one out. Now you can hear that tool go. It's just taking down the hide point. I'm just leaning back as I go, using the tool rest as my guide, my straight edge. Now you can see how much higher one side is to the other. So I want to get this so we expose all this lovely red Mallee Burr. So back in again. A little way to go. This pull cut against this is not the best cut in the world, so because it's breaking it out a little bit, but it does get the wood away from where I want it. So I'll sort of substitute or take the rough finish to get the wood away. When I'm cutting, I'm looking at the top or the opposite side. I can see the cut ring coming out. So I know when I'm getting into there. Right. We've still got a little ways to go here, but this is looking quite nice, so we'll carry on regardless. Still a little way to go. Right, a couple more cuts and that should get us where we want to be. There's some sort of knotty thing here, looks like it's going to come out. So what I'm going to do is actually prise that out if I can, before it flies out and hits me. No, it don't want to come out yet. I don't want to break anything, but that's going to come out. So I'm going to do one cut, check it, one cut, check it. Better off not having things flying around your workshop. Moving the gouge back quite slowly, allowing the wood to come over the cutting edge and cut. They're coming in different thicknesses. There's our little knotty thing. Out it she comes. All that flicks across the workshop. It's amazing how much I'm having to take off of this to get this bit flat. I'm just going to bring the tool rest in a little bit. Now I'm going to start coming in the other way now from the outside to centre. So I just got to be careful. Rub the bevel, handle really low as I get the cut. I'm banging on the bevel as I get the cut. I roll my wrist now clockwise towards the lathe. And in we go towards the centre. I'm going to do the same again. Bevel, roll the wrist towards the lathe, lift the handle a little bit. As I get into the centre, I just raise my handle. What I'm trying to do is just get rid of this last bit of rough sawn area there. We're nearly there. Sometimes they just take a little bit messing around, but it's better not to rush these things. Should have it back there. That's got her. Right, so now we're getting to where I wanted to be. So we've got a flatter area in a dish here. So now we start sculpting. So I'm just going to take that top off of there. I'm going to bring this in just a tad more. Somewhere there, I think. Right, somewhere there will do me. Now what we're going to do is just run the gouge upright, flute straight up at 12 o'clock, roll the wrist over, and then lean back away from the lathe. There. Now I'm going to come the other side. Ooh, that was a catch. What happened is I got my hand all tangled up with the lathe bed. I'm just going to rub the back of the bevel, handle towards me this time, and then push the handle away from me. I'm just creating a little channel here. I've got all sorts of things in the way here that you can't see. Camera stand. Rub the back of the bevel, handle towards me, get the cut. Push down there. Now I'm going to come back the other way. Ooh, that was messy. I'm just trying to get a nice little channel in the bottom here. I didn't rub the bevel there, so I got a catch. I'm just trying to get a fine line in there. I just caught this edge. It'll be alright, we'll get a bead in there in a minute. So we're just getting a little channel just in here. Just a little bit deeper. I don't want to go too deep and go all the way through and lose it. I'm doing is I'm just rolling my wrist over, compensate for my lack of space. There, back of the bevel, and roll my wrist anti-clockwise as I come down, and just try and scoot that out. And I'm going to come over the lathe bed. There. Might have been better off actually rotating the headstock out for this. Just a couple of fine cuts. Somewhere there. Let's have a look. I've just got a little line in the bottom. I want to get rid of that. One more cut. The old famous one more cut. Now what I'm going to do is swap over to a little quarter bowl gouge, which I haven't got over here. Let me just grab it. Thought I had everything. Someone said what you forgot today was the quarter bowl gouge. It was over at one of the other lathes. So that's easy. I can just get in there now. I'm just trying to brush this out. Something like that. That's better. Right. So now we've got a little channel there. I've got a little high point there. I'm going to try and just gently come in. Just doing a straight cut into there. We're just going to leave enough for a little bead. Nice fine cut. Somewhere there. There. And I just want to take the top off that bead. So it's flat. Like that. I'm doing this by just literally squeezing my left hand on the bowl gouge so it pulls towards me, and then when I want it to go back the other way I just release the grip and it will spin back. So I've got a little flat shoulder there and I've got a raised bit here in the middle. Now you can do whatever you like with this really. What I'm going to do is drop the tool rest again a little bit. Actually I'm going to rotate the headstock. Let's not keep tangling ourselves up over the lathe bed when we don't have to. So Joe might have to just adjust this camera. Yeah, overhead I think. Just spin it over there. Right, that's better. That makes life a lot easier. Right, so camera adjustment, technical stuff. You should now be getting views of, or in 20 seconds, the views of the inward, overhead, all that sort of stuff. Now, I just want to roll back of the bevel, handle towards me, and as I come over, I'm just trying to roll a dome, nice dome in the centre, boss. Like that. Now where we'd connected with our centres, we got a divot mark in there, so I've got to get rid of that. And I'm just going to work my way from centre now. Back of the bevel on centre, and then just push away. And I'm twisting my right hip away from the lathe, a bit like turning a bowl. Raising the handle and getting that into there. And that gives us a dome in the middle. Now we've got this area here that we can do something with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along and just roll my wrist from the outside edge anti-clockwise. Like so. Now I'm going to come the other way and roll my wrist clockwise. And you can see how much easier that works without the lathe bed in your way. It can be done over the lathe bed, but if you've got a rotating headstock, just make your life easy. There. I'm just rocking on, so we've got a little dome there, and then what I'm going to do is dome this flat area into that centre boss. Now you can make up whatever pattern you like when you're doing something like this. Now I'm rolling the wrist the other way, so I want that just to join that dome. But rolling my wrist anti-clockwise as I come in. And now just pick that up on the back of the dome and come back the other way. There. I'm just scooping this out. How's that? That don't look too sad, so.
Douglas says you're a bold man for turning like you do.
A bold man. I'm probably a little bit bold, but all the time that I'm doing this with rotating, with a lot of practice, rotating your bowl gouge, as long as my bevel, and that's any part of this bevel, is in support of the wood, I should be able to roll the gouge. I don't know how closely you can see that. Let's bring the camera down a bit. No, camera won't move. Right. If I can get Joe to come down overhead or come in, he's going to try and hold the camera so we can show you. Right. So what happens is if I pick the bevel up on the back here, yeah, I've got the bevel on the back. As I come down, I can roll and I'm still on the bevel, so I've got support. If I'm being forceful and digging it in, I'm going to get an amazing catch and blow everything up. But with gentle tool control, that twisting action, all the time my bevel's in support, so I can get in there to create this little cove. And from the other side, I run the back of the bevel, but then I'm rubbing the bevel and coming in. And you see the bevel supported. I'm just rolling my wrist anti-clockwise. So I've got bevel support. It doesn't work if you're heavy-handed with the tool. You've got to practice and master this bowl gouge being like your paintbrush. And that's how people turn thin wall bowls, all this sort of stuff. So I'm just coming back in here just to finish this off. It's all about light tool control, understanding your bevel and understanding where your cutting edge is, and
Finesse.
a bit of finesse. Joe's used the word there, not often described with me, finesse, but there we go. And you know, every now and again I get a catch, and it's normally because I'm trying to be just a little bit too clever, trying to get away with it. But when I look at why I've got the catch, invariably it's because I've got no bevel support and I'm just trying to wing it. I'm just brushing that backwards and forwards now by rotating my wrist. And there I've got a dome, not so deep dome, a little square edge there. So, that's our basic shape. Now, what's he going to do with this now, I hear you ask? Well, we haven't had any fire for a long while, so let's have a bit of fire. So we're just going to get this burner alight. Yeah, we could do with an extractor, and I've got a multi-way there, so I can plug both in. That white one. Sorry, we're just gearing up for a bit of burning. That white multi-way. So I've got here a fume extractor for pyrography. It will take the smoke away from us. And then I've got a powerful little burner. These both come from John at Wood Art Products.
That's not going to help with cameras.
Joe's just telling me it's not going to help with cameras. Just go overhead. Get this overhead one on, which is that one. That's it. We're going to go overhead, tilt it over. You might feel a bit giddy as it all gets tilted over, but it's all right. You haven't been drinking, it's the camera. If it was an evening demo, I might say you've been drinking. But as it's not, I'm just going... hold on. Bit of support board. There we go. And then we've got more chance of holding that where we want it. We've got a camera view. Bit cack-handed, but you can see what we're doing.
Cable.
Huh?
Run out of cable.
Oh, we've run out of cable. So, a little bit cack-handed. I wonder if I move the headstock back round there. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start burning the outside rim of this. Yeah, it's a burn texturing technique. Oh, turn the smoker thing on. Lee, we don't paint everything. We paint a lot of things, but now and again it's nice to do something different. Nothing like a bit of setting fire, a bit of pyromania. Let's turn this burner up. That's better. It's going to take a few minutes. So we could talk about the weather. We could blame it on the boogie. Or whatever you like, really. So I'm just going to dab around at this. Now where I've got to be careful, I can get rid of me turning specs, is where we come up to. We want to get a clean line. This thing is called it's a Wood Arts product one. I forget where, Scorpion or something ridiculous. Dragon, Scorpion. Scorpion. It's a new one that he brought out a little while ago. It's great for burn texturing. Gets really, really hot. If you're doing true pyrography, then the one we supply, the Peter Childs, is the unit. If you want to do this burn texturing, the Peter Childs will do it. It just takes longer because with the Peter Childs it doesn't get so hot. So you'll go 1, 2, wait 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, wait 1, 2, 3, 4. With this, it just keeps going. So we're going to dot this around here. And the tips I just make my own up out of the wire that you get. I can get some heavy gauge wire, and you can make whatever shape you want, but I'm just doing a random sort of dot pattern on here, and I'm just going to pick up these outside wings here. Now what I've got to be careful, I'm going to do with my old X-ray specs here, so I don't burn the bit that I don't want to burn. There. I think what I've got to do is tighten the screws up on the burner. Joe, can you pass over a little screwdriver out of there? Because this ain't anywhere near as hot as it normally is. I've got a glove to wear with it, it gets so hot. Yes. Get in here. No, little thin one. That's it, little electronic one. Screws come a bit loose, so it's cooling down too quickly for us. Now I've just had an idea, actually, to give you a better view. If we move the camera back, so I've got that here. I'm going to move the camera back. What I'm going to do is just take the piece of wood out of the chuck off the lathe, and I can do it in a vertical position. I'm thinking on my feet, you see. It takes a while. It's my single brain cell. It has to collide around my head for a while until I get to, oh, this will work better. So, let me take that off of there. It might be quicker as well, so you don't get so bored. There. Okay, there's that. That's better, isn't it? Now, if I bring the old extractor thing up here, next to it, there, and now I can really dot away. Now what was happening, the tip was cooling quite quickly because the screw was just a tad loose, so I've just tightened the screw up, and this is just a random dot pattern. I just want to go around this outside edge here up to that line. I can tidy the line up in a minute if I need to. There. Mrs. Oliver's turned up, she's whispering. I don't know what she's whispering.
Looking for a hairdryer.
She's looking for her hairdryer. Shh, don't mention the hairdryer. I'm just going to pick this up here into there. There. I want to do this bit here. Wood Art Products. John at Wood Art Products. He sells the extractors, these heavy duty pyro machines, the micro motors. They're all things that I don't sell, but I use a lot of for this sort of work. Should say I'll stock them. There. This is still getting a bit cool, a bit quickly. This is going to take a little while. Don't know what's happened with this there. Keep tightening that screw up and then it goes bright red. Might need a new bit of wire. Eh? Right, okay. So, this is going to take a while. So, I would carry on like this. And I'd cover all this area on this band and round here. And then depending what I wanted to do, I might do this centre cone. So let me just do this centre cone so you don't get too bored. This will be quite quick. Joe's going for the Blue Peter. So you can see what we're going to do. Now you can get this into any shape that you want. This tip gets really quite hot, so now I've tightened it up. This is where I use my old glove. I think this glove's only got 3 fingers, I can't get my hand into it. So, that's better. I'm just going to tip away at that. So you can get the effect. So once I've finished doing this and this area over here, what I'm going to do is enhance that a stage further. So if I turn that off, therefore everybody, hello, nothing to see here. No, the thing's gone. The chat, restore chat. We've got broadband, yeah?
Yeah, it's working.
Right, we lost the chat, so...
I haven't lost the chat, I just popped it out.
Oh, Joe popped the chat out, so we couldn't see what was going on. So then once I've done that, what I do, sorry I'm wandering around, because there is something else I forgot this morning, the gilt cream. So I'll get some gilt cream. Here, this is the old chestnut gilt cream. Little trick. Use your thumb and forefinger to smooth it out. Thumb and forefinger to smooth it out. And then just lightly brush it over the textured area. And you can see the brown coming through the burnt area. The more you texture it, the better it is. You notice that I left the little tooling lines in and didn't bother sanding them out, because I think that can add to the feature as long as the grain's not ripped. So we just do that, go around it with the gilt cream, working it in. You could use a texturing tool, anything really, but I just work that in, and then I do the same on the centre boss. In here, like so, and I'll just keep working around, so you've got the idea. But I would do that all the way on this, I would do it all the way around the edge, centre boss, and I might even do these 2 little bands as well. I just play with it to get to where I think that it looks alright. Now somewhere here I've got a little brass liming brush. Brass brush anywhere? Lost my liming brush. That's not good. I had a little brass liming brush. No, I've got one. Right, I've lost my brass liming brush. Make out this is a liming brush. What I would then do is go over it with the liming brush, brush some of this wax off, work away at it. Oh, that's not working too well. I'd work away at that, and then you'll see the brown coming through, the brown burn marks in areas, depending on however you've textured it. Oh, that looks a bit better there, look, on that one. There. So the gold gilt cream is going down into the little pit holes. That might be a bit heavy. This is not a liming brush, this is a brass brush, but we'll try that. Ah, there, you can see now the brown showing through, so I do that. Then it goes back onto the lathe and I sand this down all round, all the other areas, and sand it down to something like 1200 grit, and you might not then use wax on it at all. Once that's done, I use a reversing plate. I'll show you the reversing plate and show you how we deal with the back. Oop. Sorry, I'm unplugging things now. Get things out of the way. So, I'll show you how I do the back. Oop. Try and find a safe place to put this hot pyrography machine. Underneath there, Joe, can you give us up the wooden plate with the big black disc on it? So, what I'm going to do is just show you how I would turn the back off. So I'm going to bring my headstock round, and I want to make sure she's lined up because I'm sort of going to use that back pivot point. So to do that, we've seen this before. I think there's a Colwyn Way trick that I learned. Just bring it up with the live centre, wind the live centre into the centre of the spindle, rock the headstock around so it's sitting nice and evenly all the way around that spindle. Lock the spindle down and then you've got to be centred. We're going to take this piece of wood out of the chuck. I'll find the chuck key. Now this process, you know, you've got an hour's work, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending what you want to do with it. So now if I put my chuck back on my lathe, and this is called a friction plate. Bring that down there. All it is a disc of wood with a bit of anti-slip mat on it. And what I've done on the reverse, Mark 1 was a spigot, but taking it on and off, this starts to break down. So I then put on a faceplate ring. So that I can just expand the jaws into this. My first one was smaller and I needed an extension, so I fixed another plate onto it to give me an extension. This is the size, the biggest I can get over my lathe bed. I literally just get the tool rest out of the way, put the faceplate ring into the jaws, expand the jaws out. I can go as tight as I like there, and then I've got my friction plate. I would let the gold dry off properly. I then line this up, and what I've done in the middle of this friction plate, I've created a hollow there, so that if I've got a dome, it can sit in the hollow. I bring my tailstock back up, wind it into my peg that I generated earlier, and just gently, not too mad, enough to hold it, and this then won't slip on the mat. If I turn the speed down, myself Joe in case anything goes wrong. I'm telling Joe to get out of the way in case anything goes wrong. Just slowly turn the speed up, and there, it will turn. So that spins. I can bring my tool rest up like this. Now I don't want to turn all the spigot away because I'll finish this piece off later at some point. So if I just show you turning this shoulder away a little bit so you can see what happens. I can literally now just come in. These are all on the 50mm jaw set. To be quite honest, the chuck manufacturers, they all do different size jaw sets. And there's a chart and they recommend size of blank to the size of jaws. What I tend to do, if it's 2-inch timber, anything that will fit over the lathe bed on 2-inch timber, I use the 2-inch jaw set for. If I was going 3 or 4 inches thick, then that's when I upgauge my jaws. Or my big heavy pieces, I use real heavy jaws, like the olive root ball and a real heavy duty chuck. But from here, you see, I can turn the back, remove any little marks that I've got, and then I could sand the back from here. All it would do is leave a peg in the centre. And once I've sanded and got as close to the peg as possible, I can take it off the lathe, saw the peg off, and just sand it to blend in with the rest of it. And now I can put it on a buffing wheel system to buff it up. That works really well with this. A bit of Canuba wax on the buffing wheel system. So then once we go from this, I can't see a camera at the moment, hold on. That cameraman went walking around looking at his phone. I don't know if he's playing games. So once we go from something like this, you can see this here. What happens is I find a scrap of wood. This is a scrap of wood, okay, and I'll use a bit of brass rod, drill a hole into the scrap of wood and mount the rod into the wood and drill a hole into the edge of the burr. That's why we leave it a bit thicker. Hole into the edge of the burr, so on this piece where it concaves in, I'd probably mount somewhere there. I'd drill a hole into there, like so. And then that would mount on this piece of wood, somehow. This is too big a piece of wood for this piece here. And when we do that, then what we land up with, if I get this all out of the way, let me just disentangle myself a little bit. I've got big black wheels in the way, I've got shavings in the way, I've got, you name it, it's in the way. Now, so when we finish, we can land up, the show adjusts the camera around. Just raise the head a little bit.
On the base.
There we go. So we land up with something like this. So what you can see here is I've got the gilt cream picked up on the boss in the centre. In this one I've put gilt cream in the partial ring round the outside. And here I burnt the wings but left bits of the white wood showing through. And that's mounted on a bit of bog oak. So keep your old scrappy offcuts that look ugly, because they make lovely bases to mount. And there's a Mallee Burr sculpture, and that's the back after it's been turned and polished up. And this went on the buffing wheel, the back, just to finish it off. And it's just something different that you can do with a Mallee Burr. I wonder if you can pick that up without the light there. There we go. I hope you were enjoying today. You saw the olive root. Anybody that was late to come and watch the olive root last week, this is the olive root. It's still in the chuck because it's not finished. It's all hollow. You can see the voids. It's getting oiled at the moment. At the moment, it had about 10 coats. I put a coat on earlier so people could see it being oiled. But I'll keep oiling this, and then I'll start buffing it from tomorrow on. And then once I'm happy with the finish, I might attempt to sand the inside. I might leave the inside well alone. Because of the voids, I might catch a sander. I might have a play with that. And then I'll get it parted up, and then I'll put this on social media once it's complete. So, hope you've enjoyed today. Again, thank you all very much for your support. We've been extremely busy at Oliver's Woodturning over the last 7 weeks or whatever it is. We've been locked down. We've been doing our best. I've been doing 7 days a week, or 6 days a week. 1 day in here, Saturday afternoons off, 10 o'clock at night, just trying to keep up. I think now that people are going back to work, we'll start to slow down. What I aim to do is carry on doing live demos for you, and we'll see everybody reacts to those. We'll just carry them on. Next week we will cover something completely different. I don't know what that completely different is at the moment. I am thinking along this series to cover the tools, the various tools we use, so we go in depth with tools. If you've got anything that you would like to see done, within reason, I ain't going to give you open gun, give us a shout and I'll see what I can generate for you. So, thank you all very much for your support. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope the sun's out there so we can all enjoy a bit of it. Thanks very much. I'll stay around for 5 minutes or so. If anybody's got questions or wants to hurt or abuse, you're more than welcome. Joe's done an outstanding job today. I know he made you feel a bit gizzy when he moved the camera around, but that's his sense of humour. You're lucky he hasn't found something he could spin the camera on, otherwise it will be you going round rather than me. Right, thanks all, yeah, thanks for your thank yous. Lee, more colour, yeah, we can do more colour, that'll happen. Last call out for the Garden of England Woodturners. We're having an online competition at the Garden of England Woodturning Club. So any Garden of England members that are watching that haven't put bits into the competition, please do so. Martin's only got one bit, that's mine. No, nobody put any pieces in, I must win. Cheers, Baz. Cheers, John. Hello, David. Holiday. And thank you. Thanks for watching. I need to cut the grass. It's not raining anymore. Summer's here. Brian. No more rain. Thanks, Helen. Glad you enjoyed it. Paul, glad you've enjoyed listening to it. And you're not worried about what Joe does with the camera, I know. Derek's got nothing ready for the competition at the Garden of England. Thanks, Kevin. Glad you enjoyed it. Mark, I've milled a load of blanks. I'm rushing my way through them. I've spent a couple of days chopping up blanks. I'm going to have a bit more blank cutting this weekend. And no, there's no sign of sanding sealer. Martin sent an email out to everybody saying that he's waiting on this, that and the other. And I can't remember if it was sanding sealer next week or something else next week. But he's struggling to get bits and pieces in at the moment. Peter Burley, tools, okay, we can do tools. Peter, if you're new to this, if you look back in the archives of Oliver's Woodturning videos, I do a full introduction to a lathe, and the basic tool set is something that I use to help my students that come for lessons. So have a look at that, that'll help you, and there's a couple of basic bowl turners there. Best use of finish on a burr. If you're talking about these Mallee Burrs, because they're high, this is for Steve, because they've got so much resin in them, you can actually sand them and then go down with micro pads with water and get a real nice shine on them. I quite like using a buffing wheel system on them. That really brings it up. Douglas, no, we don't sell olive roots. Now and again I come up and I find some, and if ever I find any, I grab them to do something like that I've done. That piece of olive root was the only piece I've had. I've had it for 3 years sitting there waiting to be turned. So last weekend it got turned. If you ever search around, you can find it. Just be careful if you attempt to do it. It can be quite dangerous. And the best way is to jet wash off, power wash off the root system. Get rid of all the stones and any other rubbish that's in there. And then study it. Make sure you've got solid root joined and not parts of root that look like they've joined, because you start spinning something that's not joined and you'll end up with a disaster. You're going to turn something, Derek. Well done. Kevin Newman, vacuum chuck. Yeah, we could do something incorporating the vacuum chuck. I could have incorporated the vacuum chuck on that, actually. That would work. Maybe we'll do some plates. Thin wood turning, do some plates and use the vacuum chuck. Now Steve, the glow on my head is pure sunshine because I'm a ray of brightness. No, I don't know anybody that sells them. I sort of fish around on eBay, Douglas this is. I fish around on eBay. And sometimes when I go to a woodyard, a bizarre woodyard somewhere, they might have some, and then I just pick them up. Cheers, Lee. Flaming Turner, you turned up late, so you're going to re-watch it. It looked good. Yeah, we had no major disasters this week. Oh, apart from the broadband cutting out. So there's a little area where the broadband cuts out. Cheers, Mark. Look forward to hearing from you next week. Yeah, Paul, camera work's not really your forte anymore, but as long as you've enjoyed it, that's what it's about. Yes, it was Joe laughing in the background, yeah. His sense of amusement is his old man, yeah. Lucky he's not been throwing things at me, so I'm ducking while I'm turning, you know, ducking and diving. That's an old East End saying, we duck and dive. Right, chaps. Yeah, I used the buffing wheel on the back. If you really wanted to finish it all with a buffing wheel, what I would do is sand your surfaces all over, buffing wheel back and front and get your shine, and then try and do your enhancement around the edges, because obviously if you buff, no, you could enhance first, then buff, and put the gilt cream on last. That would work. Steve, any idea when we're open again? No, mate, I have not got a clue. It's all mail order. Karen, my wife, is high risk, so I don't want to take any chances. We'll see what happens now they're letting people back out. Who knows? You know, it hasn't gone away, that's for certain. There's a lot of more people that haven't seen or caught it than have caught it. So let's see what happens. It certainly won't be for the next few months, I would guess. We're due now. Karen actually has been locked down till July. So, you know, it's going to be September at the earliest, I would think. Thanks, Douglas. You stay safe too. Right, everybody, I'm going to sign out. Thanks again for watching. If you think of questions or something, you feel free to email me or drop me a note on Facebook. I'll always answer. Have a good weekend. Go cut your grass. Well done.